You're listening to the Better People podcast. Today, your hosts, me, Tom Warner, with Rhonda Ramirez, licensed professional counselor from Central Texas. And today, we're going to talk about something I hope's fun, at least it is for me, is can pets reduce stress?
Yeah, well, the easy answer is yes.
That's right. Well, we're done. Great. Go get a pet. I'm partial to dogs.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, I think we've talked about this idea before, is having a pet brings you into the here and now. And so it brings you right in, because, dogs are not going to let you just sit there and think about what could happen in the future or what has happened in the past. They want you to play with them or be right there with them. Cats can be similar, not necessarily in the same way. But I think animals in general are excellent at being in the moment. So yeah, I think that that definitely helps with your stress level, because you are not focused on the past or the future or what could happen. And it brings you specifically right there to the moment. But also, you can pet them. They, many different animals can sense emotions. There's just so many beneficial things with having another living being right there with you. That is an animal. I think personally, I have a cat, and my cat definitely notices when I'm not maybe in the happiest mood or when I'm kind of down. And not that I just know that she will be more cuddly when I'm not happy, I think, is the thing. I know you have a pet, a dog.
We do.
How do you interact with your dog?
Well, when I'm telling him not to drink my coffee,
Yes.
today, for example, I worked from the house. Kids were out of school because of a water main break.
Mm-hmm.
And also similar to what we did during the pandemic, but, I worked on the couch, and he hops up there, and I'm sure he's looking for food, but he finally gives up, and he just kind of curls up right next to me on the sofa.
Yeah.
And just lays his head there. And sometimes I have to move him around so I can use my computer, but he'll find that nice little spot, lay there, and just lay his head on my lap, and I'll pet him. And it's a good calming. For me, it's calming. I'm read reports that says your blood pressure can drop, and it can help with managing that. But it I agree. It does help. Then sometimes he gets tired and he just goes off into his kennel and like, okay, guys, you leave me alone. I'm sleeping. But he and I've noticed that because he has this habit of it's always the joke is he training me or am I training him? And so he's trained me that when he's outside, he scratches at the door to come in, but he also scratches at the door to have me go out play with him. So if he has a stick or a toy, I'll hear him scratch at the door. I'll try to go let him in, and he sees me. He grabs the stick and he runs out into the yard, like, play with me. Mm-hmm. And I feel bad because I'm like, bud, Daddy's got work to do, and so I feel terrible because he's like, come on, why aren't you playing with me? And it's fun in the day. It's not fun at night. It's not fun at 8:30 to 9 o'clock at night when you're trying to get him inside. But I guess that's for me. I mean, it's kind of like he's the one who wakes up to see me in the morning, and he seems to be the one most excited to see me when I come home at night. Jumping around and excited. And I know I'm probably a bad pet owner. I don't teach him to not jump on me, but I kind of like it. He's a dachshund. He's small. He's a dachshund, and he's not
to be your choice.
He's not knocking me over or anything like that. I guess I like the attention.
Yeah. Well, I think that when you said, is he training you or are you training him? That's kind of the idea of being in the moment. He wants you to come play with him. And a lot of times we do give in to our pets. And that is that connection. Also, if he's asking you, he's asking you to come outside and play, well, of course, your your stress should diminish a little bit because you're changing your environment. You're going outside. You're doing something that is really tactile and immediate with this tiny little being that you love. So, there's so many things that contribute to how it does and can reduce stress.
Yeah.
And, I work at a school. We have a rabbit. Just sitting and petting the rabbit, like the adults will come by just to, pet the rabbit and get a moment of soft sweetness. The kiddos will, take a moment to go talk and interact with the animal. And that is just like a little bit of a break from that grind of school and doing schoolwork. So I think those are some other things that our pets give us. They give us that little bit of break from all of the craziness that humans do in life that we have to keep up with. And yes, you're right. There is scientific evidence that, petting your animals reduces your blood pressure. Cats purring on you they have this healing quality. Sometimes I guess I don't know what they're healing, but sometimes they lay and purr on you. I even have a student who has a snake, which you don't think is super cuddly, but he's like, it's the best part of my day is going home and playing with my snake. And it's like this part of this routine that they have built. And I think it's more about like decompressing from the day for them, I don't know that the snake's super cuddly, but I think again, it's that routine of like, okay, let's come and do something different than what I've been doing all day, using my brain, trying to, think and all of that. So that routine is helpful for that specific person. It wouldn't be my choice of pet. I don't mind them, but it just wouldn't be my choice. But I think a variety of pets, birds, maybe even some birds live forever. So that would be like a lifelong commitment.
It's true. So you're saying we need to get more pets I'm hearing.
Yeah,
you need to get another dog. You need to get another cat or a dog.
Yeah. Like I prefer furry things myself. I have a pet guinea pig at school, and I had there's another time where I had 2 hamsters. But just having something that was outside of the norm of like the routine of the day was super helpful. And again, like just petting something or taking a moment again to kind of redirect your attention from all of the concentration of work or school or whatever it is that you're doing, I think is super helpful when we're talking about stress. Because we talk about, we need to take a moment, a break away, change the environment or change something in your environment. And pets are really good at doing that. They require immediate attention often. Mm-hmm. Especially those dogs.
They do. This one.
They just can't get away with it.
Well, and I know. I mean, as a dog owner, they say that dogs, they're based off stimulus. Something happened that caused them to do something. But I know that when my dog grabs something he knows he's not supposed to have, he does it because he's trying to get me to get up and go do something, which could be chase him or let him outside. My son has speaking of dogs, he has a little stuffed animal dog that he got, and it kind of looks like a dachshund, so he'll have that out, and the dog will see it, and he knows, normally he won't touch it, but if he wants something, like if his water bowl's low, or if his food bowl's low, or if he wants outside, he grabs it, and he knows he's not supposed to have it. He knows you're going to chase him when you see him with it, so he's like, okay, I know you're going to chase me. I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to run to the back door, and I'm going to drop. And he drops it as soon as you get up and start going
to the attention.
Yeah. And it's like
Yeah.
you knew that was going to get my attention to let you outside or to do whatever. And then sometimes he just wants to grab it and play and run like socks. He'll take your sock and he'll run behind the couch and I'm like, dude, no, I really need that, or other
Right.
things. And
Right.
so, I don't, again, I've told people like, I'm sure it's like he's doing it intentionally. And they're like, oh, I don't know, Thomas, your dog is a dog. He doesn't, and I'm like, I don't know, it's
Right.
like, I see things that he does that I don't see that I can connect with. And no, maybe I'm looking for things to connect with sometimes, but maybe I'm looking for that connection. But
Right.
I just I
No.
had a dog years and years ago that he was a corgi named Nipper, and my mother was diabetic. And I remember one day it was summer and I was still living at home. I was a teenager. And that dog was scratching and whining at my door. And I'm like, Nipper, what's up? So he walks ahead, stops, turns around, looks at me, like almost signaling, follow me. And I follow him into my mother's room. And she was having a diabetic issue. Her blood sugar had dropped.
Yeah.
And he saw that and he walked up to me and kind of looked up and back and forth at me, like, are you going to do something? And I'm like, oh goodness. And so she had a little pin, like a little, it's equivalent of an EpiPen, but a different substance. Got her back. Everything was fine. But it was the fact that he woke me up to go tell me, hey, there's something wrong with mom. And no one trained him. No one trained him for that. He just knew something was off. And I came in and sure enough, there she was out, and he intentionally drugged me there, and so I just, there's something there and that I connect with. And so for me, pets, whether it's, I've had cats before and I've had dogs, and they're just, they, as you said, they either sense it or we both of us need some sort of attention, that's why they sit in your lap and that's why they are with you at all times. I don't know. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's a combination. I would say that my cat, when I'm restless in the middle of the night, my cat will come closer and lay with me and purr. And I think she really thinks she's helping me go back to sleep, which generally she is. And I'll fall asleep, and I know she doesn't stay there all night. So, I know that when I start tossing and turning, she's going to move closer to me. So, I believe that they notice things regardless of whether they're trained or not. And they somehow try to also kind of reciprocate care somehow. And it might be a little less obvious with, smaller animals or different animals. But I do think that it happens, Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to train animals to learn to alert when somebody is going to have, like if somebody has PTSD and they have a service animal, they alert them and wake them up when they're having a nightmare or terror. They all of the medical issues that we have learned to train dogs and have dogs help us with. I am kind of addicted to the TikTok videos of animals using the word buttons. And both dogs and cats respond using those buttons. And I know that they've been trained to use those buttons, but they are saying things that are relevant. So, how can we really debate that? So, there's this cat on TikTok that tells his owner when the dryer is done, that there's laundry to get. So it seems ridiculous and crazy, but it also has happened repeatedly.
Sure.
So,
well, I think it's symbiotic.
There's something to it.
I think it's a symbiotic arrangement, and I know that I'm not qualified to speak on the human-animal relationships, but I think that there's a symbiosis there, especially I've again just through general reading, but it's basically dogs, and I'm sure cats too, but it's more I was reading about dogs in this case.
Right.
They want a purpose, not like the same
Correct.
kind of calling that a human has when we want a purpose, but they they need a purpose
like a job.
And that's which is why sheep herding animals, herding dogs. Let me back that up. Dogs that are herders, that's their focus, and they've maintained that instinct for hundreds of years. And so that's why it comes there's certain breeds that comes natural to, but like even dachshunds, were bred to be, to hunt animals, smaller animals, varmints that would go into holes and things. And so they, dogs, and that's where I sometimes feel bad for my dog. I'm like, I don't really have a purpose for you. Your purpose is to make me happy, is to hop in my lap and make me feel better, be cute and do cute dog things, and not use the toilet in my room, in the house.
Right.
Which he's pretty good about not. But it's just, I don't know. I think this is a fun topic because it's just, like I said, I'm partial to dogs. I like cats too. I used to have a cat. But it's just, and my kids, treat him. I jokingly call him their brother, which Jacqueline, my wife, gets on. Like, don't call him that. He's not their brother, like, well, he acts like he's like their dog brother, and the kids, he calms them down too, that whenever they're having a tough time, he'll run over and lick and lay his head down and he likes blankets. If you've got a blanket or a robe, he will do everything he can to get inside of that robe or blanket just to be under it. And so, I don't know. It's just a fun little topic.
I definitely think they can sense unsettledness in a person, regardless of what that is about. They can sense that. And I think sometimes they just want you to be okay.
Yeah. Well, this is again, not my expertise, but I know that humans have, I think it's called a tell. We have indicators that we probably emit from from how we act and behave and body functions, eye twitches, whatever it could be, that dogs and animals can pick up on because they use a lot of that in their own environment. Dogs, I've had, everything from their tail position to how they look at another dog indicates to each other what's going through their mind. And I think they sometimes can read that through humans. And it's kind of like they know, when I've seen stories of dogs that have torn things up and they look sad and like their owner's mad at them. Well, it's not so much the dog knows what they did was wrong. They just know my owner is not acting the way they normally act. This is scaring me. And so I'm going to put my tail down and my ears down because my owner's upset at something. Not connecting the dots because I don't necessarily believe dogs or animals retaliate. It's like I've heard people say, "Oh, I did this to my dog, and he tore the house up because I did this." Well, no, it may be separation anxiety, and so we'll start another podcast on pet psychology.
I would say, I don't know. I think my cat does retaliate when I change things, so I don't know.
Well, it probably throws her off.
I'm sure.
I assumed your cat's gender, but I think things throw them off, and if you change your environment, you've changed their environment too, and so they're uneasy and they're not sure how to react to it until they can reacclimate, much like we do. Yeah,
I would say definitely very similar. I think I just think that they expect like whatever is norm behavior from you.
Right.
And when that's not the case, then they try to, figure it out.
Yeah.
And again, maybe not with all of the consciousness that we have, but they do try to figure it out.
Yeah.
And do things that they know get the reaction that they want.
Oh, 100% agreed. We were talking earlier that I have I'm transparent. I do see, I've seen a counselor and this counselor has a dog that is intended for that purpose, or a therapy dog. And
Right.
what they do is this particular dog, fairly large dog, but what it will do is if it detects stress in the patient or the client, it will actually go lay on top of their lap or put its pressure on them, which is supposed to help
Correct.
calm that person. I guess if they're afraid of dogs, that would be an opposite effect, but it's supposed to relax the other person, and the dog's able to pick up on
Right.
signs or tells that this human is not well. And so
Right.
it's just
Yeah, for
fascinating.
sure.
It's just fascinating.
But I would say, and I am completely fascinated with therapy dogs because they do. I have interacted with that particular dog, and it is very aware of people's emotions, which is so interestingly intriguing to me. But you know, they can pick up on things, and they can then be trained if they're leaning towards that. They can then be trained to be used in that particular, job. A police dog, a therapy dog, a drug dog. All of those different things. I can't even. I'm sure there's so many.
So many uses from what you just said to therapy to detecting ailments to detecting stress to, and that's just the way. It's just so. Again, I could go on and on. It's just more fascinating. Like what's the dog thinking? What's the what's the animal thinking at that time? To them, it's like, well, they're not processing the same way we do. It's like, I know if I do this, I get a treat. If I do this, I get that, and so, anyways, just overall fascinating. And that was kind of the core topic of tonight, was just to talk about, or I say today, depending on when you're listening. Sounds like we're both affected by allergies in Central Texas.
Yes.
But
never ending
allergies. How can allergies affect stress will be another topic at some point.
Yeah, that could be.
Well, this has been fun. I tell you what, we're going to wrap up, but key takeaway for anyone listening is if you're in a position to, I know there'll be circumstances where you can't. Hey, consider a pet, something that can
get a pet.
Get a pet. Find a friend with a pet. See if they'll let you borrow the pet. Again, obviously there are circumstances that may not be conducive to. Kind of a side story. My brother wanted a dog, and fortunately, my brother works 10 hours a day and lives in an apartment. And a dog may not have been his best choice, so he got a cat instead. And the cat loves it. The cat is like, hey, I'll mess with you when I want to, and then I'll leave you alone, and I can sleep the rest of the day. And so it's just interesting. So, well, I tell you what, we're going to go and go ahead and close out today. Hang on, we'll talk in a minute. And as always, everyone, you've been listening to the Better People podcast. Tonight's topic was about pets and how they can reduce stress. Always visit our website, betterpeoplepodcast.com, Facebook page, on Twitter, same name. As always, thanks for listening.